Okay, when creating a table, the first thing you want to do is select the size for your table. So I'm going to click on Tables, then I'll click New, and let's assume that I've got one dependent variable and I have three levels of my independent variable. So I would need to select three different columns, and this is where I'll put my title of the variable, then I'll label my means and standard deviations in the second row. Then I have three rows for the levels of my independent variable. So I have a 3 by 5 table. So what I'll do first is I'll enter in my means and standard deviation column titles. So I'm just going to type M, and then I'm going to type SD for standard deviation. I'll highlight all of these, and then I want to make them italics, so I can click on Home, and it'll be similar in Windows, and then select I for italics. And then I want to enter in the levels of my independent variable. So let's say I have a no music condition, I have a rock, and classical music. And the next step is to adjust the size of the table. This is kind of big for the information I'm putting in. So I'm going to make this column a little more narrow, and I'm going to make this column more narrow, and do the same with this third one. That way the information is easier to read. Then what I'll do is I'll merge these two cells. So you can right click on the cells to merge. It's similar in the Windows version of Microsoft Word. And then I'll type in the title of my dependent variable, and then I want to center that, so I'll center that word. And then once you have your table created, you can enter the mean values. Let's say the no music condition was a 4.5, rock was 8.0, and classical was 7.2. And let's say my standard deviations were close to the same, so 1.0, 1.2, 1.5, 1.3. And then you can adjust the lines on the table. So what we want to do first is select the entire table, take away all of the borders, so we're going to select none, and then the only cells that are going to have borders are the first two rows. We're going to create a bottom border for those first two rows and a top border. Then we can select the rest of the table and just put a bottom border. And that's how you create a table. Now if you had two dependent variables, you'd have to add two more columns here. One for the mean of the second dependent variable and another for the standard deviation of the second variable. Now you might have, if you're just doing a t-test, you probably would just have two levels here. So if that's the case, then you would just delete this final row and only include the titles of your two levels of your independent variable. And that's how you create a table. Have fun! Okay, so this is how you create a graph of your mean values. So the first thing I'm going to do is enter the names of each of the groups of my independent variables. So let's say I have a no music group, rock, and classical music. And I'm going to label the column with the name of my dependent variable. So let's say it's positive mood, and then I'll put the mean values of positive mood for each of these levels, each of these music group levels. So let's say for no music it was 4.5, for rock it was 8.2, and for classical it was 7.3. And then what I'll do is I'll highlight this entire table, and then I will insert a chart and then select column charts, and then you want the clustered column chart. And this is how you create a table. And then all I would need to do is copy this table. So right click on the table, then click copy, and then go to a Word document. So a blank Word document, enter a few space, and click return or enter a few times so you have some space. Then go back to the top and paste your table here. So it's pasting now, and then after I finish pasting, I would type figure 1 in italics, and then a space, and then describe your graph. So this is a graph of the mean values for positive mood for each music group, or something along those lines. And this is how you create a figure.